name is Resti Gradia Dwi Wina. I am the member of Histology and Cell Biology Division in the Department of Biomedical Sciences of Faculty of Medicine, Universitas Padjadjaran. In this session, we are going to talk about the microstructure of the trachea down to alveoli. To ensure the process of breathing, the coordination of the anatomy, histology, and physiology is needed. So the anatomy would be explained by Dr. Hale, and later on the physiology would be explained by Dr. Yuni. There are two principal regions actually for the respiratory system. The first region is the conducting part, and then the second region is the respiratory tract. The conducting portion mainly function as warming, moistening, and filtering the air, while the respiratory portion function as the gas exchange. From the diagram shown, the conduction portion here is trachea, bronchus, bronchioles, and until terminal bronchioles. While the respiratory portion, you can see start from the respiratory bronchiole, alveolar duct, alveolar sac, and alveoli. Here in this diagram is an illustration of gradual changes in histological component from the upper part of respiratory epithelium to its lower part. Here you may see the height of the epithelium itself is decreasing, and then the goblet cells become absent once entering respiratory portion. The club cells only found at the last part of the conduction portion until before the respiratory part. The ciliated cells, smooth cells, glands, hyaline cartilage also become scarce and totally absent in the lower part. While for elastic fibers, it still can be found, although would be thinner in the lower part. This is a review. The type of cell in respiratory epithelium you can find mostly in the conducting portion is ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium, which have so many goblet cells, ciliated columnar epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, also brush cell. You can find also brush cell here. It is believed that brush cell is the generative stem cell that undergo mitosis. And then you can find also small granule cells. Remember the concept of hollow organ. There are 4 layers principally. First would be mucosa. In the mucosa, you can find epithelium and lamina propria. And then underneath the mucosa is submucosa that usually contain glands. And then there are muscular or cartilaginous layer that mostly smooth muscle and cartilage. And the last part or the outer part usually is the adventitia, which are basically connective tissue. Okay, now we will talk about trachea. What is trachea? Trachea is a tube that would extend from larynx to the middle of thorax. This divides into 2 main bronchi, and this structure is typically respiratory mucosa that lined by pseudocolumnar ciliated epithelium. And then you can also find goblet cell in its lamina propria. Here, trachea, there are lots of elastic fibers. In this section, you can see particularly the cartilage clearly. And then the posterior to the cartilage, you can find the trachealis muscle. This muscle help in adjusting the diameter of the trachea. On the adventitia part, there are connective tissue that binds trachea to other adjacent structures. Now let's take a look on the atlas here, particularly would be the cross-section illustration. Here we can see the cartilage clearly. Okay, now we would continue to bronchus. The bronchus would divide into left and right primary bronchi, and then it would further divide into lobar bronchi, And then last, it would also again divide into segmental bronchi. Its mucosa actually resembles trachea, but except the epithelium would decrease its height, and the number of the goblet cell and seromucous gland also would reduce. And on its lamina propria, elastic fiber become more prominent. The muscularis layer is smooth muscle that would arrange circularly. What distinguishes in this structure is the cartilage become flattened. The adventitia composed of the connective tissue. Now we will proceed to the bronchiole. In the bronchiole, its mucosa would changes from pseudo-stratified columnar epithelium to simple ciliated, then would change again to simple cuboidal, and then gradually the cartilage would scatter and disappear. Near the terminal part, the glands are absent, and then the adventitia is consist of connective tissue. Now, after the bronchiole, we would continue to terminal bronchioles. The terminal bronchioles is lined by simple cuboidal epithelium. There are clara cells here, which devoid of cilia, have secretory granule in their apex, and would secrete proteins that protect bronchiolar lining against inflammation. The layer of smooth muscle cell would still arrange circumferentially. Then after terminal bronchiole, we go to respiratory bronchiole. This is actually the first part of the respiratory portion that contain a small number of alveoli. And this would continue as alveolar duct, after that, after alveolar sac. The epithelium here is simple ciliated cuboidal, which will be absent at the distal part and at the rim of the alveolar. The opening become squamous alveolar cell lining, or known as type 1 cells. The smooth muscle become incomplete, and it would surround by fibroelastic tissue. Now, let's stop here for a while to summarize. So here are the tables that shows the difference between the bronchus and bronchiole. So the lining cell of the bronchus would be pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, while at the bronchiole it would turn into ciliated columnar epithelium. The cartilage at the bronchus is a plates of cartilage, whereas at the bronchiole the cartilage will be absent. The mucosal gland at the bronchus is present, but at the bronchial part would be absent. Okay, now is alveolar duct. The epithelium for alveolar duct consists of type 1 alveolar cell, and also you can find here small aggregation of smooth muscle which are absent at the distal end. Is also composed of collagen and elastic fiber. Elastic fiber would function to ensure the alveoli during inspiration and expiration, while the reticular fiber would prevent overdistension and damage to the delicate capillaries. The alveolar ducts here would open into the atria that communicate with alveolar sac. Okay, now the last part of the respiratory part is alveoli. Alveoli is the sac-like invagination of respiratory bronchioles, and then that consists of alveolar duct, alveolar sac. And this sac-like invagination is responsible for the spongy structure of the lung. If you can see the picture, alveoli resembles the honeycomb of a beehive. The alveoli consists of type 1 cells. It almost 95% of the alveolar surface. And then this type act also as the site for gas exchange together with endothelium, capillary, and fused basement membrane. We can also find type 2 cells interspersed among type 1 cells, function as pulmonary surfactant. There are also dust cells that usually found at interalveolar septum, and the other cells that you can find are fibroblasts, elastic fibers, and collagen fibers. Here I would just want to summarize the blood-air barrier that would exist in the gas exchanging region of the lung. It exists to prevent the air bubbles from forming in the blood, and then from the blood itself, it would entering the alveoli. It would form by the type 1 alveolar cell of the alveolar wall, the endothelial cells of the capillaries and the basement membrane. And the barrier is permeable to molecular oxygen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and other gases. Here, actually, this diagram shows the site of gas exchange built up, as I mentioned before, and then the right part is the microscopic electron that show this one just to show, to compare the red blood cells and the membranes itself. And remember, between the adjacent alveoli, there's interalveolar septum that contains small opening. We call also these alveolar pores. Alveolar pores function to equalize the air pressure in the alveoli and promote collateral circulation in case there's a bronchiole obstructed. In this diagram is to show how type 1 and type 2 alveolar cells look like. Okay, the last part is pleura. Pleura is actually a serous membrane that would completely covers both lungs except at the hilum and pulmonary ligaments. Remember, the structure consists of two layers, parietal and visceral, and both composed of squamous mesothelial cells resting on a connective tissue layer that contain collagen and elastic fibers. In the next slides are the summary tables. Here you can see the for trachea and primary bronchi, you can easily find C rings or C hyaline cartilage. You can find mucus and seromucus. The epithelium is pseudostratified columnar epithelium. You can find also the cilia and goblet cells. And there is special features of the trachea. You can find trachealis muscle and elastic lamina. Then for this table is the difference between the secondary bronchi, bronchioles, and terminal bronchioles. As you can see, the bronchi itself still contain cartilage, but bronchioles to terminal bronchioles, it replaced by the smooth muscle. The glands only found at secondary bronchi, and for the epithelium, at the secondary bronchi is pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, then would gradually change into simple columnar to simple cuboidal. The cilia is absent at the terminal bronchioles, also the goblet cells. Just remember that at the bronchial part and the terminal bronchial part, you can find Clara cells. And the last table here is difference between the respiratory bronchioles until the alveoli. So at the respiratory bronchiole, you still can find some smooth muscle, but it is absent at the alveolar duct and the alveoli. You can see none of the glands here, and then the epithelium is thinner. So from simple cuboidal and simple squamous, it would become simple squamous cell. The cilia would be absent at the alveolar duct and alveolus, and none of the goblet cells can be found either at the respiratory bronchiole, alveolar duct, nor alveoli. And here the specific type of cell that you can see or you can find is type 1 and 2 cells, and also sometimes dust cell or macrophage. Here are the references that commonly used here at our university. Thank you for your attention.